Hi, it's Jamie with Jamie's Arts a la Cartes. Thank you very much for joining me. I have a fun project planned for us today. I hope this video inspires you to create something of your own. If you would, hit the like button and share the video with your friends. That helps me to grow this channel and to continue to bring you new projects. If you haven't subscribed yet, would you please consider subscribing? And if you have, thank you very much. Well, we have a lot to do, so let's get to it. Alright, so it's a brand new pattern, so where I want to begin is by cutting the pattern out. So again, I'm going to cut all, I think I'm going to cut all the pieces out, but what I'm looking for is this part, but I wanted to do that, so let's see how we can make that all happen. These are our instructions, and it talks about how to do this, that, and the other. But there's multiple pages of this, and it's a, if you haven't sewn before, this is like tissue paper, maybe a smidge thicker, but it's got all this print on it. I'm going to try to cut this on camera, but I don't know, it's kind of big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out all the pieces and then figure out where I'm at. So there's 2 pages, or maybe 1 giant page. I don't even know yet. Well, the good news is once you make something like this, you never have qualms about how much clothes cost afterwards. Oh, it is 2 pieces. So I got this little piece and then this big giant piece. This is the sleeve. So this is, so when you look on the pattern, it says A, C, and D. And then here it shows you the little letters A, C, and D. And I'm looking for B. So maybe I won't cut all this out just because of time. Okay. So I'm looking for B pieces. Yeah, we got paper flying now, don't we? Alright, there's C. There's B. And there's B. That's C. So, just to make this a little more manageable, Alright, so we have all of our pieces cut out. As I was cutting, I was like, oh, these little clips are going to be so great. But how do I, it won't work on the fabric, right? As I need to pin the fabric, this to the fabric so I can cut the fabric out. So I still had to pull out my straight pins. So in looking through this, it tells you, the arrows tell you which way it should be laying on the fabric so that you keep them all going the right direction. And then we have one that is on a fold, which is our back. That's our little tie. And it tells us to cut 2. So that's the other thing, is it'll tell us how many of each one we need to cut. So this is the right front. We want it to go that direction. And we're cutting 1. All right. I will start getting these laid out. and figuring what our next step will be. Get them laid out and get them cut out. Alright, got this piece pinned on here. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. I was going to try to pin all of it, but it's just a little overwhelming with size. So I'm just going to start here and cut it out. There's a gentleman that sets up at our curb market, and I took him these scissors the other day, and wow, they just cut like butter. I'm so happy. Alright, I have everything all cut out. It's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, so very manageable. So I am making this C-shirt without the sleeves. So then with these patterns, they give you directions. And so I'm doing C. So I've read the directions. And like do this, then that, and all the other. And so the first thing they want me to do is a stay stitch. I wasn't really sure what a stay stitch was. So I read their instructions. They've got all the stitches broken down back here. And they tell you about the stay stitch. But I wasn't sure if I was supposed to fold the material over and all that. So I went to YouTube and I typed it in. And no, what they want you to do is to come along this long side, single fabric, single layer, but it's usually because it's cut not with the grain of the fabric, so that will help it just to not stretch out. On this material, it probably wouldn't make a difference, but on my soft stuff over here, it'll probably make a big difference. So we'll do that on this piece. I don't know why they don't have you doing both pieces at the same time. But I'm going to actually do my stay stitch on this one, and then on this one, and then we'll go to these little, what do they call these, darts or something like that. I think they're called darts. And we'll sew these darts, and then we'll see what our next step is. It's all about learning, y'all. Alright, so again, this is a machine that my mother-in-law gave me. Super, super grateful for it. It works like a charm. this. This over here. I think we're done with that. All I need for thread. We're going to do the top and sides. Back, get flat. I wonder, should I line up that side or should I line up that side? Does it show me? It has the extra towards the collar side. It's that little picture. So that means line up this corner to that corner. Actually, I want to do the other side since it overlaps here. So I'm going to sew this side so I can see where I'm at. Make sure it stays lined up. Okay. And we have this. Alright, I did go out and get some blue bias tape. I've pinned it around my shirt, and I'm finishing up this little seam here, and then I'll show you what I got. Cut this off. This is our extra. So this is a different bias than what was called for on the package. And the reason is that when I tried this shirt on, it was cut a little lower than what I really wanted it to be. So I'm going to modify that in the pattern for the next one. But it essentially crisscrosses. And then ties at the side. Alright, so after I did that first one and I sewed it and tried it on and all that, I liked the overall design of the shirt, but I wanted to tweak it a little bit, and I'll show you what that means. So I've sewn a couple, but I wanted to show you on this last one. So what I did is I made it more of a tunic style, which means I made it longer. Which means I had to adjust this dart pleat thing. Dart, I think is the official way. But I did that on both. And then I also, that was the where you fold it. So that's the back. So this will be the front, right and left. So I changed this one also in that what I did is I again made it longer to match the back piece, but then I also took the section that crisscrossed in the front. So this it was not even, as the pattern didn't call for it to be even. So what I did is I made it more like this without the buttons and brought it down for that tunic kind of style. So what that meant is now I don't, both left and right are the same. I probably will tweak that again, but I'm trying to get these done so that I have them ready and available for me. But so I lengthened them, and I took, instead of making this just chop right here, I made it come on over and made it just sort of, it sort of hangs down this way, only in the reverse a little bit. And then, of course, the dart had to change as well, the dart placement. So the other one I made shorter. This one I kept the same. And I'm not cutting out fabric. I'm just cutting up this and then seaming it together, because I can always go back and adjust that if I want to. The other thing that I learned, the pattern itself calls for this single fold bias tape. And for it was just hard for me to work with. So what I did is I went out and I bought double fold bias tape, and I made it wider. It's easier for me to handle, to grip, and all that jazz. So I bought coordinating colors. So I ended up, this was for the original shirt, so that practice fabric, and then I have a blue, blue on blue, turned out pretty. And then, and that's the fabric I have left over, so I'll be able to create some little something with what I have left over. Don't know what that is yet, but we'll figure it out. And then I have this fabric with a hunk of it left, and I put cream on it. And what I did is I actually lined from here all the way around and then down again. And then I just did a seam here and then a seam around the armholes, just like a normal seam. So that one turned out really pretty also. And so this one we're going to sew now. I have this pink, so it'll be pink on pink. I got some pink thread in there. The sewing machine is working great, amazing. I did go ahead and like on that first practice one I did, when I did the ties, I sewed it, folded in. This stuff is pretty slinky, so I did just go ahead and sew a seam and then turn it, because I was able to stretch this out a little bit. It's a little frustrating, but manageable. So what I've done with this, we'll sew, but this needs to relax just a little bit. So what I've been doing is taking it off this little cardboard thing. And it starts out with, let's see, get that back out. So it starts out with like 3 yards, and then I have a piece like this left. I don't know what I'll do with that. I'm not going to throw it away. We'll figure out something to accent something or something like that. So I had originally bought 2 packages of each color because I just didn't have a clue of how to guesstimate that. But one package does just fine. So I've got about $23 minus the pattern cost in each shirt. So that was something I was trying to keep under control too. then this has a nice little removable piece for these armholes. Makes it a little bit easier. So the easiest way for me to do this to not have a bunch of bulk there is to do two pieces. So I'll take it from one side around to the other. We'll pin it into place. And then we'll come back and add these two legs here. And that thread blends right in, so that'll help with the overall look. So there it is. All done. So we have this print, the original practice, and then we have one more. We have this print also. They're all super soft. They're like a polyester spandex, so they give very breathable, so this should be great. Well, again, thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you have any suggestions on any of the things I sewed today, I'm always trying to learn new things about sewing. This isn't my forte, but I was able to pull these out in a pinch, so that was nice. Well, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, would you consider subscribing? I will do some still shots and show you what these look like as hanging on a hanger, and showing you how they turned out. All right, until next time, happy crafting.